the second time I filmed this video. Let's hope this one sticks. Hey everybody, it's Novia from Adulting with Novia, and today we're going to move on to homeschool planning baby step number 3, which is creating a daily schedule for you and your kiddo. I have a couple of things here that I'm going to be using for this video. So what you're going to need is your outline of the overall year, because that's important. A thing that I want to note that I did not note in my last video because I'm the worst, I guess, is that it will be helpful if you'd number your weeks from 1 to 36. I'm going to presume you are at a 180 day, 36 week requirement by your state laws. So please check those and make sure that you are following your daily requirement protocol. Another thing that you're going to need to know when you're doing this is also if there are any state requirements for what subjects you should be teaching your child in a particular grade for that school year. I'm not sure that applies, well, in my state anyway, it doesn't really apply so much to the elementary grades, which is what I'm in right now, as more so towards high school, where you have to, think about coming up with transcripts and credit hours and things like that. But always, always, always check your state laws and regulations to make sure you are following the proper protocol when it comes to your homeschooling and getting all those plans together. But anyway, you're gonna need your outline for your whole year so you know when you start and when you stop. Some regular old notebook paper. And here I made a little printout that I'll link down below if you want to use it, for you to figure out a little worksheet to figure out your student schedule. You can use this for your schedule, whatever. We're going to be using these today, so I'll show you. And your curriculum. I have several different types of curriculum here to show you some examples. And here I just wanted to show that this is where my daughter's homeschool schedule, it is. My daughter's daily ideal schedule will be inside of my Erin Condren Life Planner Return Homeschool Planner. I'll put a link up for this if you want to see that setup, but eventually all this that I'm coming up with will be transferred here and color coded accordingly. But first things first, you just need this, a pen of some sort. I have a crazy allotment here for myself because I like choices. I'm going to use this, what is this, Papermate Flare. And eventually we'll get to this. So we're going to need that worksheet too. But you really just need to start off with a piece of paper and a pen. If you have multiple kids, color coding right now will be very helpful for you. Or you can stick with one color, whatever works for you. But I believe if you have more than one kid especially if they're using multiple different curriculums, even if they're using the same curriculum and they progress at different rates, I still think you should color code. But I only have the one because kids are expensive. Color coding, I would highly recommend right now. So the first thing I want you to do is to write your kid's name at the top. And list each subject that you plan on teaching. Now, don't get completely and utterly overwhelmed by this list. My daughter's going into 4th. It looks like a whole bunch, but the whole point is to create a schedule to where this does not look as overwhelming as this list looks. And if your list doesn't look like mine, that's completely okay. The great thing about homeschooling is flexibility for you and your family and your lifestyle. Second step, we're going to write the name of each curriculum that we're using for each subject. So now that this is step number 2. Now that you've listed this, next step, I want you to take note of each of the lengths for the curriculum, because what you're going to do, you're going to use your outline here to correspond chapters, lesson plans, weekly schedules, whatever, to how many weeks you have in your school year, so you can schedule those accordingly. This is more so towards deep planning, which we'll get into, but it really does help to give you some sort of general idea of where you should be, according to you, in a particular curriculum at a particular time. Real quick. So a good way to figure out how long something is completely depends on the curriculum you have. Some curriculums, they have chapters, and I'm going to use Beast Academy here as an example. They have chapters, but within those chapters, they have different sorts of different lessons. So you can break them down by week, you can break them down by month. It just depends on how your kid's progressing and where you think that their aptitude is. But yeah, so like Beast Academy has 4 parts to a lot of their, if you don't go somewhere, you little noob, parts of their curriculum, and they each, you know, progressively get bigger and bigger and bigger. So what you would do in this case is count all of the lessons or so and such in each chapter and divide them evenly amongst all the weeks in your calendar. So that way you should know by week 8 we should be on this lesson, by week 12 somewhere maybe in the next book. It completely depends. And or you can get something like All About Spelling, and they have the steps here, which you can consider lessons, particular lessons. And depending on your kid, they can move faster, they can move slower. You can adjust to their needs. So maybe your kid needs a whole week to understand 2 closed syllables. Maybe they need shorter. Maybe they get it quicker and you can move on to the next lesson or next step the next day. It completely depends on your child. That's another benefit of homeschooling. They progress as fast or as slow as necessary for them to understand a concept. Or you can really luck out and get a curriculum that has an overall scope of sequence, or as this one calls it, a course schedule, where you have the weeks and the daily day-to-day breakdown. So day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in week 1. So, and this is basically, it's just all done for you. So that way when it comes to deep lesson planning, you know what you're doing each day and you know what to note in your planner, what your child is going to be doing. But it's really helpful because it tells you exactly how many weeks are in a lesson plan for that curriculum. Just some things to keep in mind. So here I have listed all the lessons and the weeks in which my curriculums that I have so far fall into. For reading, we're going to do a literary study of a book a different book every 5-week interval that we school. Because remember, we school for 5 weeks and then we take a week off. So each 5 weeks we'll have a different book, and we'll do some sort of literary studies where there'll probably be an interactive notebook, because she likes those more so than just sitting down and droning and writing all the time. If you say book report, she'll have a meltdown. And then ASL stands for American Sign Language. She tries to go through and learn. She wants to learn a different foreign language every single year. Last year for 2018, she wanted to learn French. I got Rosetta Stone. She lasted 2 weeks. And by 2 weeks, I mean 4 days, because we only did it twice a week. But now she wants to learn American Sign Language, which she calls hand language, which I think is adorable. And so we're going to learn it together, because I have a coworker who is deaf and I would like to learn how to communicate to him beyond pointing and writing things down. I know that's what he's used to dealing with when it comes to people who are not hearing impaired, but I just think it's rude to not at least, try to communicate with him. So this is one that I'm actually going to be making up myself. This is one of her specials, as well as art and critical thinking. So these are going to rotate every 5 weeks. So for 5 weeks, we may do American Sign Language. We'll take our break. Another 5 weeks, we'll do art. We'll take our break. Another 5 weeks, we'll do critical thinking, which is just one big fat workbook. But she likes critical thinking. For her, they're brain teasers. So it's what she wants to do. We discussed her specials, what she would like to learn more about, and that's what we're doing. But anyways, we wrote down the lessons plans. This is more so towards deep planning, but this is just one step that you don't have to worry about. And it also helps you figure out how many days you should schedule for a particular subject, which is our next step. Figuring out how often you want to do a certain subject. Is it daily? Is it weekly? Is it bi-weekly? Are you doing it on a loop? What fits best with you, your family, your child's ability to learn? What fits best in the schedule for each subject? So that's step number 4, writing out how often you want to do each subject. Okay, so for here I wrote math daily, science 3 times a week, because that's actually what the course schedule or the scope of sequence allows. History 2 times a week, reading daily, writing 3 times a week, because we did that last year and it worked for us. Cursive 2 times a week, that's another schedule that rolled over from last year that worked. Spelling daily. All her specials 1 to 2 times a week. I haven't really figured that out yet. We're going to start off with 1, and if I feel that she can handle 2, or if she tells me that she can handle more, or she wants to learn more, then we'll ramp it up to 2 times a week. Grammar daily, critical thinking is another special, along with her art. So 1 to 2 times per week, depending on what she feels like she is capable of doing and what I feel like she's capable of doing. Sometimes those things don't match, but she's pretty much as stubborn as they come. All right. So the next thing we're going to figure out is, basically, this is what we need this little guy for. How much time do you want to dedicate to each subject and to your meals? I also want to know, when you're coming up with this list, don't forget special things like sports, groups, co-op times, things like that, because that's also a part of their learning experience. And you need those things for when you're figuring out your schedule. Some days may be heavier than others. So don't forget to include things like sports, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, whatever Scouts, 4-H, things like that, when you're coming up with your ideal schedule. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say ideal, I do mean ideal. It's something to strive for, but not necessarily push so hard that you and your child burn out. Again, it's not a rule, it's a guideline. It's something to strive towards, but if you don't make it towards that, don't beat yourself up about it, because again, one of the greatest benefits of homeschooling is flexibility for you and your family, depending on your lifestyle and your homeschooling style. It's not something that is set in stone. It's something that, you can look at as a reference and be like, okay, this is really what we should be doing, so let's try and get on it. But not something you so much have to be a drill sergeant about it. We're just trying to figure this out so we can just, make it easier during our homeschool year, create a routine for everybody. It for my family, me and my little wee one, it helps. But anyway, the first thing you want to figure out when it comes to all of this is your meals, your lunches, breakfast, dinners, snacks, chore times, things like that. Those things you want to figure out first. Now on my Erin Condren here, when I did my setup, I have already figured out when some of her meal times are. So that's not going to be much of an issue for me. Ooh, excuse me. There goes a marker. I don't even care. So you're going to, this allows for a 12-hour block. And then you have your Monday through Sunday. Or if you want to do Sunday through Saturday, whatever floats your boat. I'm not gonna, freak out about it. I don't know what I was thinking. So, 7. I don't know why I didn't. Don't worry, I'll make it. You'll have a much better version that's divided even better. This is me struggle busing. Don't worry, the one that I make for you guys, I'll fix it. Whatever. So that way it'll have 30-minute intervals and it'll actually have 12 hours. Alright, so this is my tentative ideal schedule for my daughter for the 2018-2019 school year. I started off not actually color coding it, but then I decided to because you really couldn't tell what the heck you were looking at, and you probably still can't. But if you want a neater version, you're gonna have to catch me on Instagram when I show you my updated version in the Erin Condren. But anyway, this is the tentative schedule. So 8 o'clock we have breakfast. I give her from 8:30 to 9 o'clock to have breakfast and handle her personal responsibilities. We all have 30 minutes of math, 30 minutes of grammar daily, Monday through Thursday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm allotting about an hour for writing because we're using IEW's, what is it? Excellent for writing, whatever. SWI-A, and I glanced at the first lesson and there's a 42-minute DVD video happening on the DVD. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm allotting for an hour. If she doesn't need an entire hour, great, then that's fine. And there'll be some extra time there for her to move on, have a longer time for lunch and recess, things like that. We have our daily spelling. Don't ask me why spelling is before cursive on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think I got away with myself. Tuesdays and Thursdays we have cursive, and daily we have our reading. From 12 to 1 she has lunch and recess for her to chill out, do whatever, take a break. Because basically what I did is we get all our main subjects out in the beginning, and then after lunch we do the more project intensive subjects like science and histories, because there's experiments, arts and crafts, things like that with it. And then on Mondays and Wednesdays, most likely just on Mondays, we have our specials, which is the critical thinking, the art, or the American Sign Language. So we're going to start off with one day, and then if she wants more, a possible second day would be Wednesday, maybe Friday, maybe Tuesday. I don't know. It just depends. So this could float around. And then we have our chore time here from in between the day 2 to 3. And then she has free play until dinner time. I guess I should have wrote dinner, huh? Because that's what that is. And then after dinner time, she has free play and electronic time until it's time for me to drop her off at school. Because I don't get off at 7. So from Wednesday through Friday, she is being picked up. But yeah, this is my ideal schedule for her next year. Hopefully, you know, we don't die. Here's the thing, I'm pretty flexible with this. It always starts off like this. If you saw my homeschool flip through video from last year, you'll notice in the very beginning, we have a whole bunch of different things that we're covering. And as we get throughout the year, some things fall off. Some things get dropped off because it's too overwhelming. She's not developmentally ready for it, or I've had to adjust whatever curriculum it is to her specific needs. And considering that a lot of this that we're using this year is new, I am not going to doubt that some things are going to end up changing. But for right now, this is our schedule. Got to be flexible in this. And when it comes to figuring out your schedule, I'll show you what I did in the last video that got dumped because computers are annoying. So I actually drew this out. It's really struggle bussy. But this is basically my schedule, what it's like now. Like I've already mentioned, I work full-time and I work on a third shift, so it's overnight. So your schedule may vary, obviously. So for me, I went from 7 to 9 because that's pretty much my day, 7 to 9, because after 9 o'clock, I'm heading to work. Anyway. So Monday, I wake up at 7, I have 30 minutes of me time, then I have my power out, what I call my power hours of cleaning, where I try and detail clean the house as much as I can. Then I take a break, and then I meal prep, and by meal prep, I mean breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, all in containers, all in the fridge, because that's one less thing I have to worry about. And then I'll film there, and then I'll read a book, shower, whatever I want, hang out with my kid, because self-care is a thing. Tuesday, I get an hour of me time in the morning because that's how long it takes me to wake up. I'll clean a bit, more meal prep. I'll take a break, nap. I'll film, chill with the baby planner nerd sometime in the afternoon, have dinner, catch up on anything that needs catching up until it's time for me to go to work. So that could be cleaning, meal prepping, whatever. It's mostly cleaning. Wednesday through Friday, I pick her up. And then while she's having breakfast or something, taking care of her personal responsibilities, I'll probably be editing the video. And then I'll be focusing on her more with school. Then her lunchtime, I usually take a nap. Then I wake up and we do more school. Then after that, during her free play, I'll take another nap. Then I'll wake up and we'll do dinner. And then I'll drop her off and then I'll nap until work. Now I want to note my Mondays and Tuesdays. During these times when I'm doing all this stuff, she is actually doing her schoolwork. She's 9 and she's very independent, so she does not like me to hover, and I'm a-okay with that. She'll usually just come to me if she has a question on a concept or something in her schoolwork she doesn't understand. Other than that, she is independently somewhere around the house doing her schoolwork. I don't have a homeschool room because there's no point, because she'll just sit wherever she wants to sit, whether it's at the kitchen table, on the couch, on her bed, at her desk. Mostly lately it's been at my desk because it's new, and she just schools throughout the day on and off. But usually on days where I'm working back to back to back to back, I sneak a nap in whenever I can. I'm a professional napper. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I don't have to worry about anything because she's at her dad's for the weekend. And usually on these days, on Saturday, I'm usually at work not at work, I'm like in a coma until it's time for me to work. And Sunday, I'm in a coma all day until it's time for me to pick her up. And watch and repeat, and we do it all over again Monday. But when it comes to creating a schedule for yourself, make sure you leave time in for you. Yes, the cleaning's important, laundry's important, dishes is important, running errands is important, getting your kids to and from places, being a chauffeur, all those things. in part of being a mom and being a significant other. Those things are also are all important, but you can't fill anything on an empty cup. So make sure you schedule your me time in there. Granted, my me time's pretty small. It's not like throughout the week, but it's still there. So make sure you put in some self-care in there for you. That's important. All right, if you guys have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to put them down below. I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you like this video, please don't forget to click the like button. The next video is about de-planning, which I was supposed to be recording and posting today, but I can't because I had to re-record this because computers, man. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, if you're looking forward to seeing the video about de-planning, which is next, please don't hesitate to click the subscribe button and the little bell ringer next to it so you'll be notified when I post that video. All right, thank you again so much for joining me. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.